Now for Keller at Large.
Here's John Keller.
Well, good morning, and thanks for joining us. It is tax season, and more than in past years, there's a lot of uncertainty about the situation with federal taxes and state and local taxes, how they've changed and what the impact's going to be. Let's talk about at least some of that with our guest this morning, Eileen McAnney. She is president of the Mass Taxpayers Foundation, a nonpartisan organization that provides research and analysis of fiscal and economic issues. Eileen, welcome.
Thanks, John.
Always good to have you here. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So at the end of every month, the State Department of Revenue issues tax receipt totals. And they always put a sort of a happy spin on it. That's fine. No criticism intended. That's their job. But after a surge last year of tax receipts in Massachusetts after passage of the federal tax law, January's receipts fell significantly short of January 2018. You called that in your analysis a, quote, yellow light for the coming fiscal year. Why?
Well, because for that very reason, the tax revenues are not at the level that we're expecting, and that has implications certainly for this fiscal year, but also for next year. And just to kind of put a finer point on it, last year, the state got $2 billion more than the previous year and $1 billion more than they were expecting. And in January of this fiscal year, we're down by about $400 million. And the swing was $750 million from November to January. So pretty volatile.
What's happening?
Well, I think most of it has to do with capital gains. Massachusetts relies on capital gains tax revenue, and they're reflecting the volatility in the stock market at the end of last year.
And for people, I don't think most people know what capital gains are, but it's unearned income. It's stocks, real estate profits.
Exactly.
So that would seem to suggest that our red-hot real estate market, at least in some parts of the state, is maybe cooling a little bit, or what? What's causing this?
So capital gains can be from stocks, from real estate, really from the sale of any capital. And so I think it just reflects the volatility, and I don't want to say it's the cooling of the housing market, although we are seeing signs that that is happening. And there are some other signs about the economy slowing down. I think you look at the AIM Business Confidence Index, and that has decreased in recent months. We've seen that the growth in domestic product for Massachusetts is lower than at the national rate for the first time in a while. So I think that there are some signs that we need to heed.
I don't know how widely understood it is how reliant our economy in Massachusetts is on overseas economies, particularly Europe. I know we do a lot of business in the Middle East. You referenced in one of your analyses global warning signs. What are some of those?
Well, we're seeing a slowdown in the growth of the Chinese economy. The EU is slowing down. So I think that there are signs, and it's really important to remember that we're at the late stages of the economic recovery. By historic standards, we're on borrowed time. Yeah. You know, so we're seeing signs that we're in the late phases of that.
And Europe is kind of a mess right now.
It has some political and economic challenges, for sure.
Yeah. All right, tell you what, let's take our break. And when we come back, I want to talk about how all of this that we've been discussing reflects or may impact on local policy. And Governor Baker has raised some eyebrows with his tax policies. So we'll continue our conversation with Eileen McAnney of the Mass Taxpayers Foundation in just a moment. Stay with us.